Pure Lands are like worlds, whole universes dedicated to help you be there until you become realized. It's like having perfect conditions for practice. I think of it as a Buddhaship, just like you get scholarships and there's a university campus with, you know, many lectures and buildings, all designed to help you learn. Of course, there's the parties and the drinking and all that stuff that goes on in campuses. Well, that doesn't go in the Pure Lands. But it helps you practice pleasant, pleasurable conditions, teaching conditions. And from the Pure Land, then you can, so to speak, graduate to become a Buddha yourself with your own Pure Land. So to establish this habit in this life, to establish a strong connection so that at the time of death we actually can call upon this Buddha, it's a tremendous thing. The practice of Guru Yoga, also, in the Nyingma, we visualize Guru Rinpoche, and in the Kamma Kagyu, the Karmapa is visualized. I personally follow the Nyingma tradition after Sosha Rinpoche and visualize Guru Rinpoche. But there's a strong connection between the Karmapa and Guru Rinpoche in any case. And in the Gelug, actually, they visualize Tsongkhapa, I believe. But that's, again, farther away. But in any case, any being that you deem to be the truth, the complete truth, complete beauty, complete power, we could say Jesus or Allah or the Prophet Muhammad, Krishna, you know, you name it. What is for you, as they say in the 12th step, the higher power, however you might envision it. For us, it's Guru Rinpoche, the embodiment of all Buddhas. Guru Rinpoche is more than a person, he's a universal principle. He's the inner guru, he's the inner guide, he's your wisdom mind. So, both a being that you can relate to as a person, a personal being, as well as your wisdom mind. A dual role, dual existence. So establishing a link with the Buddhas is extremely powerful, maybe sufficient to liberate you. There's also a practice that is described both in Sosha Rinpoche's book as well as in Lama Shenpen's book. Again, there's more to death and dying. And this is the practice of Poa. Poa is very closely related to praying to the Buddhas. It's a visualization where you visualize your consciousness shooting off to the heart of the Buddha, and you merge and become one with that Buddha, whoever is Amitabha. In my case, again, I was trained in Amitabha Poa. There's many versions of Poa. Some are secret because there's some danger in them, but actually Sosha Rinpoche and Lama Shenpen both relate a very simple Poa that is completely safe, which is again just visualizing your heart essence going to the heart essence of the Buddha, perhaps placed, you know, a couple of feet above your head, and then merging into one in light. So that's very simple, very safe, and it's something that again can be practiced in life as well as at the moment of death. Something that actually Jane Tromge, wife of Chagyu Tulku Khandro, would recommend to us was to create scenarios of the time of our death. Now that sounds gruesome, that sounds kind of crazy and sick for a Westerner, but it's in fact to prepare ourselves to be ready to handle any situation, peaceful as well as violent. It's a great privilege, it's a great fortunate thing to be able to die in one's bed on relatively peace and quiet, being relatively conscious. Doesn't always happen that way. Sosha Rinpoche again has a story of a practitioner, one of his students, who was riding on a horse and she fell off the horse and was dragged several feet, I guess, or dragged for a certain amount by a horse. You can imagine how she felt at that moment. And at that moment she drew a blank. There was no practice that came to her mind. You know, and something as simple as Amitabha, 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 or Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Zari Hum, just said once or twice would be a powerful link, a powerful thrust to the dimension of that Buddha. Many of us do, you know, get into car accidents. The moment that the car is that moment when it seems like everything is in slow motion. That's the moment to invoke the power of all the Buddhas, or the Buddha that we have created a link with. I'm trying to think of other practices. Those are big practices, especially the recognition of the nature of mind. Don't think this is a myth or something that you cannot accomplish. It's a natural function of a human being. Now, you need a teacher to point to you, hopefully to point to you the nature of mind, and pointing out instructions. I will at some point get into some of that material here, but you need to be prepared. You can't just walk off the street, so to speak, and watch a video or talk to a teacher and the teacher points out to you. Don't fool yourself. You need to prepare yourself. You need to meditate perhaps for years. Practice what's called the Nundro, purify, if not the Nundro officially. Do practices that purify the mind of greed, of pride, of doubt, so you can open. If you don't have that openness, the transmission is not going to occur. But it's a reality. It's not a myth. It's not a fiction. It's not something that it's only for very special people. When you look at some of the favorites I have chosen, there's some that very ordinary looking individuals have received the transmission. So this is real. So I can't think of anything much more to say except to say that now is the time to prepare for the time of the day of your death. The day of your death will come at an inconvenient time. It will come at a time when you promise to do something for somebody a few hours later, or when you haven't finished doing your tax return. It'll come at a time when you wish you had asked for forgiveness for somebody you hurt 30 years ago that you can't find. And it'll come at those times. It's not going to come at a time of your convenience. So the time to prepare is now, when we still have some relative strength, relative power. One last thing is, it was just brought to mind discussing this, is like when you get sick, when you get a flu and you're feeling like crap, and you go, okay, I can't meditate, I feel too bad, or I can't even get out from this bed. Remember, your mind's still motile enough, your mind is still active enough. You can pray, or you can ask the Buddhas for help, and just get rid of this cold for me, and keep me in mind, and or do a mantra, or the mantra of the Buddha, medicine Buddha, Tayata Om Begamze Begamze Maha Begamze Rasa Samugate Soha, Tayata Om Begamze Begamze Maha Begamze Rasa Samugate Soha. There's all kinds of opportunities to use your mind to connect, mostly asking the Buddhas for help, because when you're prostrated like that, man, when you're really sick, it's been a long time I've been sick like that, but I do get through periods of very low energy because of my health problems, and at those times I just ask the Buddhas for help. And I think, when I'm dying, if I feel like this, I can still always ask for help, the help of the Buddhas. So with this in mind, I hope this is a positive message to you. It's a sad time that and my uncle passed, but we will have prayers for him, and I am sure we would have, at the very least, he will have a good rebirth. And of course, with his faith in the saints and the angels, those are Buddhas. So regards to, I know the Catholic Church has some certain rigid teachings and so on, but in reality, when you pray to a saint, when you pray to an angel, when you pray to Jesus, who are you praying to? You're praying to the Buddhas, the enlightened beings that are there to help us day and night. So they'll be there. They are here with us tirelessly to help us. Again, I hope this is a positive message, and be prepared. Tashida like.